right? It would be extremely unjust, no pun intended, if we talk about this without acknowledging our monkey contributors who have helped us a lot in terms of making all this possible. So in no order of biasness or whatnot, or level of contribution, Blockosaurus, Hamster, Bill, Jet, Tandy's, Don, Static, Jacob, and Distro especially has been, sort of spearheading this initiative, helping us make this report possible, including the past versions as well. All right, so appreciate, all these, smart monkeys for coming together. Please do give us help us give them a shout out as well in the chat. Thank them for all the work. This was not a work that was done overnight. Neither was this done over 1 week or 1 month. This was done over multiple sort of months, long months per se, and it's a huge continuation of work. Yes, Crypto Peasant, thank our non-contributor monkeys as well, as always. Appreciate everyone. Of course, community members as well, who basically provided feedback because this was done in multiple phases. All right. So, with the help of this immutability working group, we have now finally arrived at this full version of one of the more sort of mature version of the report for us to review. So let's dive right into what this report entails. Yes, thanks, Anjas. So basically, just to set the context here, the goal is to really create a report with possible paths that outline the different options for us to achieve immutability. And this is specifically for the Gen 2 collection. And the working group is to sort of present this to the DAO and evaluate it with the help of the lead exec. All right. And later on, you also realize this document specifically revisit the initial request laid out by the DAO, as we sort of highlighted as well in the earlier sort of vote thread that we shared with you. There is also the key point informing the group's decision, how the group arrived at here, some of the proposed solutions with specification, living document that will continue to evolve. And this will likely, change. It may not be in its final shape today as we see it. The goal of this is to allow it to more accurately reflect, the final decision that we eventually arrive at, as well as the logic behind it too. If you guys are wondering what exactly is this report, this is actually shared in the announcement chat as well when I sort of made the announcement yesterday. If you guys want to refer to the PDF and you are more comfortable with that, feel free to just go to the announcement chat and pull that out. But we thought it would be extremely important for us to run this through with everybody, because we know not everyone would be as patient enough to want to read through a PDF report that is X pages long. So we try to sort of keep it to the concise mind form format. Feel free to sort of keep any questions that you have later on that you can raise as well. So take note, some of the highlights here. Full immutability will require the DAO to commit to 0% of royalties going forward. No ability to revert the decision. Take note that this affects only the Gen 2 collection. This does not have any impact on the Gen 3 collection specifically. All right. So this is one of the key highlights, and a general high-level list of all requirements that must be met for a successful completion of immutability. Just because immutability is not just for the namesake. If we want to do it, we need to do it well. A list of technical implementation details as well that must be followed, how this can be done, etc., as well as the cost, the duration, the risk that we may be exposed to according to these different options. All right, some of the requirements as we sort of reviews or get closer to some of these options that may be available. Here are some of them. The ones that have been laid out, from the very beginning, is that provenance is critical and this must be maintained, because this was the whole purpose or the whole motivation of this proposal in the first place. No migration will truly occur to other standards. Any code used should be open source or written by the working body to ensure the sort of completion of it, or the completeness of it, as well as to minimize risk of cost. Audits optional if functionality is something novel or required, and essentially the dev who write the code is something that is someone that the working group will decide. Jacob, I saw that you are muted, just to make sure that in case this is something that you want to comment on, feel free to do so as well. Okay, he very quickly switched off the mic. Okay, no worries, no worries. I just want to make sure that our contributors are able to sort of help voice out some of the areas that is slightly more important as well. All right. This next part is something that is a key reason why we want to involve everybody, because the DAO is not about the exec. The DAO is definitely not about the lead exec. Neither is the DAO about the board. The DAO is much bigger than that. The DAO is made out of close to 3,000 members today, and we need to make a decision as to whether or not we are okay with royalties forever being 0%. Of course, alongside the benefits of provenance. This is a key reason why we organize a forum like this, so that everybody can have the opportunity to understand exactly what this is about and what is the best path forward, and for you to voice out as well, whatever that you're feeling. No comments are stupid comments, no questions are stupid questions. Sorry. So the above, this comment follows as well. Our proposed solution should cover the topic of royalties, ideally offer a clear solution should the option of future royalties be desired. And this is, again, I highlight, should the option of future royalties be desired. All right. If the above cannot be guaranteed, immutability should be delayed. A detailed plan to be submitted with specific about complexity and duration of proposed solution. All right. So let's go to route to immutability. These are some of them that our dev has laid out: SPL token, token metadata, metaplex engraver, metaplex inscriptions, libleplex inscription, and metamem program. So don't want to bore us too much here. I think later on we'll have devs as well to come up and talk a little bit about this. Let me just see if Distro has managed to join us. Most certainly, if he not here yet, could you just oh yes, Distro, I finally see you. Sorry, just send you out. Don, I'm going to send you guys Blockosaurus as well. Yeah, so before we go to the different options that has been laid out, I thought it would be apt to bring up some of our devs to chat a little bit about some of these different options, and specifically, any other areas that we may have missed out that they think could be helpful to just highlight to the entire community. So in no order, feel free to just unmute yourself. I see that since Blockosaurus is already here, if you are available to chime in, we would love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, so currently on Solana, there are a couple of different degrees of mutability. There's like program enforced immutability, which means the program is telling you that it can't be updated through any of the program paths, but that doesn't protect from the person having the keys to the program or the multi-sig having keys to the program actually making a change that modifies that. So then you can actually make programs immutable to prevent anything like that in the future. And then those are kind of the 2 degrees as far as that goes. Metaplex has a couple different ways to do immutability beyond that. I guess a third different way is the concept of inscriptions, which takes the off-chain data, which is usually stored on Arweave, and puts that actually on Solana. So you kind of put all your eggs in one basket, because if Solana goes, then everything's going to go anyway. But yeah, here's just kind of a layout of the status of every program that we could potentially use for different stuff. Their status is whether or not they're upgradable, or whether or not they plan to be made immutable, and audit status as well.
All right, thanks a lot, Blockosaurus. Appreciate you coming up to share with us. Jacob, Don, is there any other comments that you guys want to flag out alongside, Blockosaurus comments as well?
Just that Solana and Ethereum are very different in how their smart contracts work and how data exists on them. So immutability is only possible, like Blockosaurus said, if like the person who owns the smart contract destroys their update authority. And on Ethereum, it's like you can kind of bake that into the smart contract for the NFT collection. So this is new shit we're doing, and it's not entirely clear how immutable we can get. So
yeah, thanks a lot, Jacob. Moon, feel free.
One thing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Jacob. I think what you're referring to there is that the fact that like a lot of the NFT programs and like as it's built on Solana currently, and I know this has been a long going conversation in NFTs in Solana for a while, is like Metaplex owning those contracts and the desire or the direction that at some point in the future it's been communicated that they themselves will make those immutable. But I think what you're raising is that until that actually happens and then that gets burned, like immutability at a project level could potentially be achieved, but like true immutability in terms of like an NFT program is dependent also on them. Is that correct?
yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about for sure. Also,
Cool.
I'm not depressed, assholes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in as a clarity, as I know some people may have raised that and you brought it up here today. So yeah, appreciate that.
Okay, sounds good. Unless there's any more individuals who may want to come up here and share a little bit as part of the working group, we will move on for now. And I think later on we can have some more members come up here and share a little bit about some of their thoughts and findings along the way. Okay. Yeah, let's move on for now. And just thanks. So based on the findings presented by the Immutability Working Group, here are two of the solutions that they have put forward. Choice A involves mutable royalties but immutable NFT. So if the DAO chooses to keep royalties on the SMB Gen 2 collection mutable, and the main sort of feature is this would allow future royalties to be switched back on. Additional work will be required to allow for only royalties to be modified, and this can basically be done in one of two ways: a wrapper program or a Metaplex improvement proposal. So the wrapper program simply is just like a smart contract that becomes the update authority for all SMB Gen 2 NFTs. The wrapper's contract's sole purpose will be just to update the royalties on the assets but prevent modification of any other fields. The pros to this is that it's concrete controls with customization for us at MonkeDAO. It's a relatively simple program. The cons, however, is that this will still require an audit. There's delegation of developers to write the program will be required. There's the deployment and audit costs that could be associated. All right. And as part of choice A as well, this option, the Metaplex improvement proposal, which is the second option within choice A itself, is that this would be a proposal that is submitted to the Metaplex DAO, which manages program changes for the Metaplex protocol. What this essentially attempts to do is that this would sort of attempt to submit a proposal that would entail a new authority field, which is permitted to change royalties despite the assets mutability. The pros here is that we may be able to get the support from Metaplex team. It seems like this is what is written here, but of course, given that this is still a proposal, I do want to sort of flag out that there is, of course, the need for this to be passed in the Metaplex style environment. This would be audited. This will potentially require no MonkeDAO effort or cost. And it sounds like this would be something that could potentially be made available as well moving forward for the other collections, etc. Implementation timeline though would be managed by Metaplex. All right, so this is choice A with mutable royalties and immutable NFT. I understand that today's topic is maybe a little bit drier for some of us, so try not to fall asleep. Feel free to engage in your banters across the Discord chat. We try to sort of keep it quick so that everyone can provide your comments and feedback. Yeah, so just take note, this is one of two options, all right? And there are two options presented here as part of choice A. Moving forward, choice B, this is the Fury. The Fury. I'm obviously, running out of steam and coffee. Fully immutable collection, choice B. This is if the DAO deems that it is acceptable to commit to permanent 0% royalties, the path becomes much clearer. There's no longer a need for custom semi-mutable tokens, and the token themselves can be marked as fully immutable using the mutability flag in the token metadata program. This operation involves updating the is mutable flag for each NFT, and it's an irreversible action. Again, this is the reason why we host a town hall like this, so that everyone can be well educated as much as possible, well informed, so that we can all make an informed decision. After this is complete, no metadata changes will be allowed, including royalties or any other properties. All right. Extra, whether or not to inscribe, the last decision and the proposal for the DAO to decide is whether or not it's desirable to inscribe the SMB Gen 2 JSON data and images on chain, or whether or not the current storage or on Arweave and the SMB website are sufficient. The pros is that data is backed up on the Solana blockchain. The cons is that this incurs the additional cost of rent for the whole collection. And here are some of the timelines associated to each of them. Choice A would maybe take 2 to 3 months. It's a little bit longer compared to choice B, naturally, because there's a couple of interdependencies and a couple of stakeholders involved. This can, of course, vary depending on the path that we choose to undertake. Extra of 1 week. I believe this is the whether or not we want to inscribe. All right. So not just a random extra time that is put out there. In terms of cost estimates, choice A, 5K for development plus 20 to 25K for program audit if using wrapper, minimal dev time plus transaction fees to update the metadata if it's choice B. Extra is around 100 so for the entire collection. That's part of the inscription. I just want to sort of flag out a quick comment here that costs would probably not be a main consideration regardless of what options that we choose. I feel like the cost that the immutability working group has sort of flagged out for us here is something that we can easily justify, especially if this is core to the narrative of MonkeDAO and especially our SMB Gen 2's collectibles. All right, so that's just one comment I want to leave. All right, so this brings us towards the tail end of the immutability report that our working group has put together. Shout out to all of them once again for working on this. This is clearly not an easy one, and appreciate everyone for sitting through the entire process. Hopefully, this gives you a little bit more insight, because I'm sure 90% of us would not have read the immutability report otherwise. So now I kind of want to open up the sort of stage for some of our team members, including the contributors, to come up and share some of their thoughts. And then afterwards, we'll transit straight to open mic. So, whoever is up on the stage or wants to come on the stage, feel free to request to speak. I know Don is running a little bit short on time. So Don, if you want to go first, feel free.
I'm currently walking over to my appointment, so it might be a little loud. I don't know if you can hear me okay, but yeah, generally, I'm just here to support kind of anybody's concerns or questions or comments. So overall, I'm more definitely leaning towards sticking towards a mutable solution, keeping the provenance of the NFTs, but as a developer, definitely wanting some more flexibility as well as the ecosystem changes. So, open to having those discussions as well.
All right, thanks a lot, Don. Yeah, anyone else who may want to come up? I know Blockosaurus, Jacob, you guys were able to share about some of the alternatives. Is that if there's also some of the comments and feedback you want to share, just based on your findings, feel free to unmute yourself as well. Oh yeah, there's a request to re-see the slide with the choices. Yeah, we can do that. Yep. So that is Jacob, feel free.
I like the option where we petition Metaplex to kind of push some more custom immutable options for the collection. Because I think there's a world where some people or the community finds we need revenue, and membership is the best way to get that. I don't know, but
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jacob. Appreciate that. Yeah, and just Moon, so see you guys, any one of us want to share a little bit about this before we transit to the open mic. Gregory, I also, sent you a request to come out to speak as well. Feel free to just respond to it if you want to come up.
Yeah, I can go ahead. So I'll share my opinions, of course, obviously from a personal POV. So I'm and the board and the exec team do know my opinions. Is this I'm very much in favor of cementing the provenance and the history and the legacy of SMBs in the blockchain, on Solana. I know that there's concerns like, oh, if Solana dies, then what happens to our NFTs. I mean, I'll be completely blunt. If Solana dies, so does SMB. For better, I mean, the community will live on, and the people may live on, but probably under different NFTs and stuff like that. So for me, that's not personally a big concern. I like the idea, or I like the fact of knowing that something is cemented in history and can't be changed down the road. I think with the idea of having a wrapper for royalties around the NFT, that for me creates additional risk in the future just because I can trust the board and the exec team today to perform in the best interest of the DAO and make decisions as a collective around agreeing to the previous vote of 0%. If we keep that gap in this structure in the future, I don't know what can happen in the future. So removing any sort of like ability for it to be messed around with in the future is a bonus for me, in my opinion. I like that. And I'm also a huge believer of having things inscribed on the blockchain. So I'm of the opinion I like option B with the extra of being inscribed forever on the blockchain. It's a part of history, forever there. What you buy is what you get. That's the state of the NFT as it resides. That's my take on it.
Yep. I think and just Simon, did you guys want to come out as well? Oh, actually, I see that Gregory has already came out successfully. So Gregory, feel free. Oh, is it my mic? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're fine. I think it's just other people aren't unmuted.
Okay,
So
sorry. I thought I disconnected. And just, do you want to comment on this as well? Otherwise,
sure. I see that Gregory's still muted, so yeah. Yeah, anyone that's kind of talked to me, I think in my position as someone that's in charge of governance, so I'll kind of give my divergent kind of thoughts. So as a personal monkey, I definitively can see the path towards immutability, and it's something that I 100% want for monkeys. So as a monkey holder, it's something that I would like to see. The path to that, I don't really care. To be honest, if I am speaking from like a holder perspective, it's irrelevant to me as long as it does happen in the future. It could happen today, it could happen in 6 months, it could happen in 5 years. To me, I'm not like super stressed about timelines on that. I know that it's going to happen. Monkeys want that. And no matter, I think that in the future also Gen 3 might be thinking about that. And I think that's something that they should be thinking about. And because immutability is important. It's the whole not your keys, not your coins philosophy. And that's why you should always have a freaking ledger, that kind of stuff. So as a holder, yeah, I want immutability. As the exec that is in charge of governance, and my position, nothing should be definitive because we are a DAO and everything changes all the time. People's opinions change. the way that we see MonkeDAO changes. If anyone's been a member for years, the MonkeDAO that it was years ago as opposed to today is very different. The MonkeDAO that it's going to be in years from now compared to today is going to be very different. And that's why I love governance, because it's the collective unity of us all figuring things out together and changing the shape of MonkeDAO. When I entered MonkeDAO, I had no idea that we would get 0% royalties, and here we are today. And I'm fine with that, because that's, my job is to enforce the will of the DAO, and the DAO wanted that. But the cool thing about changing royalties is that they can be changed again. With immutability, when we have kind of these two options that are saying something else in the DAO cannot be changed, I don't like absolutes. I think that in governance, we need a lot of space for room to change and grow. And so any proposal that sets an absolute that changes what will happen in the future of MonkeDAO and that people cannot change something is a problem to me. We need to be thinking about of course, years from now, monkeys have the liberty to turn back on royalties if they so please. I don't think that we should be impacting their future. And it's not to say that I'm for or against royalties. I can care less at the moment. But what I care about is the ability for people to make decisions non-unilaterally, thinking about the future. And so, from my standpoint, I'm all about the option that's mutable royalties and mutable NFT, simply because it just kind of aligns with how I see MonkeDAO in the future. But yeah, so that's like my opinion. Thanks for letting me share it, and super excited to hear other people's.
Thanks a lot. And just quickly, let's see if the mic is better now. Feel free. All right, yeah, no worries, all good. In the meantime, Simon, Susie, if you guys do want to come up, just let me know. Otherwise, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry at all. Let's give it one more shot, Gregory. Okay, maybe that's
Yeah, I can jump in if Gregory can't get this working. Cersei, do you want to go first, and then I'll go after you if you do want to speak?
I am saying this as a whole. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm using another device, but I'm saying this.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just sharing opinions and to kind of give you guys an idea of like how we're probably not unbiased. I mean, how we are probably not biased because if you see all of the execs kind of have equal split view on this matter. But for myself personally, I like NFTs, so I like option B. That's kind of it. I just like buying things and collecting things. Yeah, that's all. I like pretty things, and I want my monkeys to be just pretty. But yeah, that's it.
Simon, do you want to go ahead? Then we'll try to see if we can bring Gregory up, and then we'll transition after to the open mic session.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I think I'll start off with saying like this is my opinion, and I pretty much agree with almost everything that Unjust Mouse said. I take this very seriously. This is a very serious topic of discussion. I do see immutability as being a very important part of the future of NFTs. And I just want to encourage everybody to really think thoughtfully about this, because this is a very permanent decision. Can never be reversed in 5 years or 50 years or 100 years when you're passing your NFTs down to your grandchildren. And that's definitely something that I see myself doing. So this is kind of the scope that I'm coming into this with, really zooming out. And I am concerned that maybe in this space that moves so quickly and changes so much, and values and narratives change, that maybe it's not a good idea right now to make a permanent decision. So I think for me personally, I'd like to kind of maybe wait a little bit to see how the space matures, both MonkeDAO matures as a community, how Solana matures as a blockchain, and how Web3 matures as an ecosystem before we make any permanent decisions. That's my little piece there. Jemmy, maybe we can try Gregory now. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
All right.
Did it? Okay. Yeah, this
Looks
works
like-
out. All right.
Looks
Yeah.
like I figured it out, GM. I agree with the last few speakers, and yes, like change is like a scary thing, and we don't really know like what MonkeDAO or the future holds. But for me, that's actually exactly why I think immutability is important, because there is downside risk to that future as well. Like we've already seen people suggest art upgrades. We know that the keys are in the hands of a human who could change all monkeys to be soul skins, for example, or who could get hacked, or you never really know. There's always some sort of risk anytime those things are in the hands of a human, or what the future DAO might want to do. So to me, like as a collector and investor, like it's really important that my monkey is my monkey, and I don't want any sort of changes or risks associated with that. From a financial standpoint, I'm really proud of the state that the DAO is in right now, with several years of runway and other revenue sources. I think that the permanence here on Gen 2 royalties will encourage the DAO to put more focus on Gen 3, which would be great, as that has been a struggling collection so far. It would also encourage the DAO to look for new sources of revenue and just generally be fiscally responsible. I think all those things are great, especially with a long runway. Plus, like as crazy as it seems, if several years from now we are in the need of funds and things have been going otherwise well, I mean, we could even issue some sort of DAO pass or subscription model for generating revenue, or as funny as it seems to say, we could issue a new NFT collection. There's always, that sort of possibility out there. I don't think there's a whole lot of disaster or risk scenarios to moving forward. And so, yeah, I definitely support going with it. But I also admit I'm not the most tech savvy, so I don't necessarily understand some of the risks that might be out there.
Thanks a lot, Gregory. Really appreciate that. Thanks for figuring out the tech issue there. I guess we can promote you now to the tech committee. All right, appreciate everyone here on the stage that has shared their opinion. Now we'll transit to the open mic session, where we can have everyone who's interested to sort of chime in, share your thoughts as well. English, no, we cannot mail. Today is not about mailing. But if you do want to come out and speak, I will send you a request. So just accept this. All right, I see that we have Queen, we have THZZ. Maybe let's have, THZZ, since you're already unmuted, and then Queen will go next. Thank you.
Jeremy, what's going on?
GM, happy Wednesday, I guess.
Very good. Hey, I listened to the conversation on immutability, and it really comes down to a simple thing. No one can forecast where this is all going. You can't tell me where it's going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, or whatever. And I mean, I could just sit here and list a dozen things that could happen and might happen, where if you lock this thing down, you're just not going to be able to take advantage of it. So I think, and it's been said in different ways from different people, but there's just so much unknown. And really, honestly, if you want to do, take like 100 collection, take Gen Zeros and make them 100-unit immutable collection as part of this. I don't know. But the bottom line is, no one can forecast where this is going. I could name a dozen things off the top of my head where if we did this now, we're not going to be able to take advantage of it. So I can't think of any argument why we'd want to do that. That's it.
All right, thank you. It seems Jemmy's preoccupied by typing. So
Sorry.
it's all right. I'm gonna thanks for your thoughts too. So I'm gonna open it up to Quinn, who also wanted to chat. So Quinn, come on up and say some words.
Words. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I also want to reiterate that the immutability at this time is probably not a good idea. In the I'm sorry. In the that's good for the DAO. I mean, I understand why personally somebody would want to have their NFT not being able to change, but I urge whoever is going to make the decision to think about the DAO moving forward. As everybody has said, THCZ, Simon, Mousy, the only constant in life is change. And if we are unable to change, then we are stuck in the mud. So that's not going to be a good thing for the DAO. That's what I wanted to say. Thanks for listening.
All right, thanks a lot, Queen. Appreciate you coming out today and share with us your thoughts. Anyone who may want to come up and chat, feel free to just send a request to speak or just tag myself, Unjust, Super Simon, basically anyone in the chat, and then we will bring you up. All right, Don, we'll bring out Don the Per vlogs as well. Please come out and don't ask me about the 10 storybooks. But Don, whenever you're ready, feel free to just unmute yourself and speak.
Hey, how's it going? Just checking you can hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you up. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I'm a new MonkeDAO member. I bought a Gen 2 maybe like less than a month ago. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I was at a meeting and I missed all this. I heard the first 10 minutes, but I didn't hear anything after that. But I think I wrote out my thoughts just here. I just thought like it seems very insular, the whole thing. It just seems like a very over engineered kind of response. Like certainly choice A on this doc you had seemed crazy, and then choice B, I guess obviously it's way simpler, but I don't know why you'd want to do it anyway. And then yeah, the choice C or the extra option of spending 100 sol to inscribe. Yeah, from an outsider looking in, like I just don't see the point in all this. So maybe I missed the logic.
Oh, sorry. I think I may have missed.
It was very refreshing to hear a new monkey's perspective. But I guess just as a note, so this actually passed a long time ago through the DAO governance schedule. So this process was supposed to take roughly 6 months to get all the information compiled. It took a little bit longer, and then this is kind of where we're at in the final stage of the vote that passed. So this vote has already happened, and so this is the actual execution of it. So at the end of the day, actually, we have no choice but to execute it, whether just as a note. But definitely, if you have a chance, take a peek at it and review it. Definitely worth time to see, mostly because this will kind of decide a little bit of the next future of the SMB NFTs. But anyways, cheers. I love the refreshing.
Was it a permanent change? So when you voted for the immutability, because that's the difference between option A and option B, right? So option A is like very expensive, it's like 30 grand, and it allows you to like undo the immutability, or the what do we call it, the fees. Option B is like permanently immutable. But was that part of the vote?
Sorry, I was copy pasting the vote for everyone that's listening to your questions right now. So pretty much the vote was that we would do an immutability investigation and then commit to a path forward for what we're going to do with it. So essentially, this group would gather all the necessary information over those 6 months, and then what would happen is that the choice of what to do next would be up to the current CEO to pick a direction. So this current group pretty much provided 2 different like big line items, A and B, and then the immutable inscribing. But then actually, as people are actually just talking about it right now as well, that actually there could potentially be a third option, which would be at this time do nothing. And then pretty much, yeah, that's kind of what they're talking about right now in the chat. But the options have been presented, and now it's up to the CEO to make that decision. But also, we wanted to have like a chat and discussion with everyone about that before the discussion, the decision was made final. And so that's kind of why this chat is happening today.
Okay, perfect. So do nothing sounds like a good option. But thanks very much for having me out for.
Thanks a lot, Don. Appreciate you.
Yeah, cheers, thanks. I think Phlox, stay on topic.
Come on, Flux. This is your time to shine.
It's my time, Dane. I have no fucking idea why I'm here. I just wanted to say that I need money to feed my wife, Dev Majesty, because it costs me so much, guys.
Sorry, Flux. I know that was funny comment. But we appreciate that effort. All right. If you do want to come and share, some of the thoughts around this topic specifically, please let us know. We will definitely bring you up again, as long as you promise to be a good monkey. All right, Salty Egg GM, thanks a lot for coming up, and feel free to unmute yourself to speak.
Yeah, hi guys. I just wanted to mention, so currently Gen 2 has different voting rights than Gen 3, right?
At the current set under the current bylaws, Gen 2 does on-chain voting, so the next stage after proposals, and proposals are for Gen 2 and Gen 3 at this time.
So it seems to me that it's a bit we still have implication in the chain, so I don't know if it's very safe to make the Gen 2 immutable, because if we do that, it means that Gen 2 is still participating and is still like part of the DAO, and it means that we won't be able to like change anything, even though because Gen 2 is the focus, right? But Gen 3 is the focus, but Gen 2 is still part of like the idea as well. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's like very safe to do the immutability. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, totally appreciate that comment. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by the number of pings we're getting. Is there any monkeys who may want to come up and share comments as well? We should go immutable and inscribe, but keep royalties mutable. We make it immutable later if you're like, boo. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, English, I just sent you a request to speak. Distro says that he agrees with this option. Is there any more monkeys who may want to come and speak? Take note that this is an open mic session. Anyone and everyone can come and speak. There is basically no stupid questions or stupid answers. Just feel free to come up and
just
comment.
Make sure it's on topic.
Yes, if you do want to sort of share a message but you can't speak, just basically type it out on the Town Hall text chat. We can read it for you. All right. We can read it on your behalf. But of course, no crazy messages. Especially if we can do it through the Metaplex MIP, so we can do it for more collections in the ecosystem, allowing for higher levels of immutability without compromising royalties. So that means potentially kind of like setting a new path, setting a new standard as well. Path by MonkeDAO. Okay, interesting comment. THZZ, thanks a lot. Just sent you the request to speak. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Thank you. A quick question. The last speaker brought up something that I didn't know the answer to. So is the immutability for both collections or just Gen 2?
Immutability is only for Gen 2 at the moment.
Okay, so the current voted proposal is only about Gen 2, correct?
That is accurate. Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Yes, I typically am very accurate.
That is 100% on point.
I'm just telling you what other people say. Other people say I'm very accurate. But anyway, my second question was the can you go over again? So this process we're going to go through now is going to end up with you, the CEO, making a decision. And right now you've got two options to choose from.
Oh, sorry. Can I hear your question again? I think I
Yeah.
missed that.
Well, it was.
All right.
Go ahead.
In reality, there are two options that were presented to him plus the extra. So these are all presented to him. And kind of actually, as Gregory was saying, and I love the governance crick here, Gregory, so you'll know that I'm happy to see it. But pretty much, Jemmy has the option to go with those options or reject those options. And that is his power as the CEO to this this governance proposal that came through. So pretty much he has the option.
Okay, so no other action would need to be taken if it was decided that we weren't going to do anything. Jemmy and Jemmy alone can make that decision.
Yes, sir.
But the DAO would have to be would also have the option to vote on it and veto it, whatever
Right.
decision it may be, if the DAO does decide to do so.
Is this Jemmy guy Docs? Like, who is this person?
This is a great question. Wow, you're seeing me in Bitcoin, I guess.
Bye. Thank you for the answers. Those are the two. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right, I appreciate you. Always a good spot here. All right, any comments here from now? Hopefully, Gentry is a big success and makes a lot of revenue. Yes, I think there is this comment as well. What are the options being discussed? Robot, yes, there is the report that is linked in the announcement channel. If you just want to access the full report, you can click it via the announcement site. Otherwise, Anjas has also flagged this out as well. Essentially, choice A is partial immutability around all metadata except for the royalties itself. So this offers some level of flexibility in terms of the royalties topic, but also gives us full certainty around the sort of immutability around the art and other aspects, other metadata essentially. Choice Z is basically fully immutable collection. Basically, there's zero, ability to change anything from there. And those are some of the options presented. All right. Yes, that's. I'm trying to read the right comments. Let's see, seven feet pics. Okay. Are there any more monkeys who may want to come up and share more comments? I think Dumpling sent a pretty long message as well, but he may not be able to come out and speak. So I'm just going to read this on his behalf. My thoughts are simple. I don't think we should ever change the artwork. So if we can inscribe that, only that would be sufficient. If that doesn't work and you need to make royalties immutable as well, I'm good with that too. That is less important to me. I don't see any reason why anyone would change the art. I think, well, yeah, basically, don't see any reason why anyone would want to change the art. And yes, I think we should inscribe it and make it immutable from that perspective. All right, this is 2 cents. Any more comments that you guys want to? Saudi X says, I think yes, the best would be to make immutability on the picture then. Royalty and the rest kind of risky in my opinion. Hello, I'm right. Oh, okay, not reading that. Let's see. If I was changed, I would throw myself off a building. I would actually agree with that. I like my art for what it is. I am holding, or the only reason that brought me to SMB in the first place was basically the art coming from a Paul Frank lover. And I do not ever want to see this art changed at all, 100%. Okay, fellow monkeys, anyone wants to come up and chat about anything, raise any questions? We have Jacob, we have Blockosaurus here, we have Moonhill, who worked very closely with the Immutability Working Group. This show is also in the group. If you guys want to come up and ask any questions, these are the tech experts, the Giga Chats as we call them, who knows a lot about the technical specifications and whatnot. So this is now your time to be able to leverage on their expertise. Feel free to just tag myself, tag anyone, and then we will bring you up. Remember, this session is not about us. This is really to gather the feedback and make sure that everyone's voices can be heard. English, that is very sad. That is a very, very sad story. And I am letting everybody know that Flox just sent me a DM and I refuse to open it because I'm 99% sure it's not anything good for now. In the meantime, does anybody want to come up? Please, don't worry. There's no right questions, wrong questions. Is perfectly fine, even if you have a slightly differing view compared to everyone else. Okay, Flox, I'm wrong about you this time around. I apologize. Any more monkeys who may want to come out? Again, you can just point this in. Yeah, he probably cropped out the edited picture. So what about 100 years from now, things change? We all want immutability of the art. Okay, we could make a hard cap of like 0%, 5%. Oh, interesting. Okay, any other commands, folks? Anyone wants to come out and voice your thoughts? Again, you don't have to come out and speak. You can just type it there, and basically we can read out your message for you. All right. With your immutability, can we save the 42 frozen monkeys? I think we've discussed about this before. Yes, I think Gregory is partially right. And also, we do not really want to mess with the integrity of the blockchain because this, really opens up a can of worms as well. And I think the previous team did sort of transition the 42 over to the ordinals as well. So that's that. All right. If the only con is the cost of immutability, then that's not too big a concern. Why Gen 2 and Gen 3 are not handled at the same time for this topic? Essentially, the governance structure of MonkeDAO is also slightly different. Basically, the way the DAO has been built, is such that the Gen 2 collection does hold a slightly different governance rights as compared to the Gen 3 collection itself. This specific proposal was raised in respect to Gen 2. And not so specific to Gen 3, but I would not sort of rule out the possibility, especially in terms of mutability of art, towards Gen 3, the Gen 3 collection eventually as well. That is definitely an option. But as far as this specific proposal is concerned, this is related to the Gen 2 collection. All right, anyone? Okay, interesting. This is why we say the tech geniuses are here. There's a lot of like technical stuff happening here. Dozy, yes, 100%. Feel free to come up, and then we will bring you up right now. Let's see. GM, thanks for coming up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, GM.
Hello. So yeah, I'm new here, but to me, the whole idea of this was to gain provenance through immutability, right? Option A to me isn't fully immutable, so it doesn't gain the desired provenance. So in my opinion, it's option B or nothing.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dozy. Definitely appreciate that, and that's kind of a pretty fair comment that came out a couple of times as well. Why nobody said happy birthday to Andy on Monday? Fox, I'm not sure if you are trolling here, but we'll definitely wish Andy happy birthday, especially if she's in our audience or listening to this on record. All right, we should go to one member, one vote. What do you think that is? I think this is a slightly different topic of discussion, and I don't want to have my opinion be reflective of the DAO as a whole. As an individual wise, I do see MonkeDAO as kind of like an organization, and DAO members are essentially like shareholders. The biggest difference here is that blockchain is the technology enabler that allows us to organize ourselves in a decentralized manner. And just like you as a shareholder, you would expect yourself to have slightly higher voting rights, because maybe you have a slightly larger shareholdings in one specific company or so. And I kind of view this topic especially in this manner, and I think that is most representative in terms of the vested interests of members overall. And therefore the current setup of X number of NFTs equals to X number of votes is quite reflective of that in an ample manner. Of course, I do understand that there are differing views on this, and that is one thing that we did sort of chat through about as well previously.
We're
Any
getting up
other?
on the hour, just so you know.
Yep. We will probably have maybe the last 5 minutes to answer any questions there may be. Then after that, we'll chat through some of the next steps here. Then we'll have some closing remarks, and then we'll let everyone start leaving. Take note that everything can be accessed via recording as well. All right.
I wanted to chime in real quick with just a technical comment on option B, like making everything permanently immutable. I know the concern there is like preventing future innovations or preventing future edits to modify metadata. But odds are, I mean, a lot of the more current NFT standards like Metaplex Core, Token 22 aren't necessarily inherently compatible with the old token metadata standard. So I think odds are to get like new features and new innovations that are being developed, you'll have to use a newer standard anyway. In which case, you'd want to make one of the newer NFTs a wrapper over the old NFT, kind of like the DAO Pass proposal, or that I think Simon was talking about. So there may not even be, that may not even be a discussion point, is considering the risk of not being able to modify stuff, because at that point, features aren't going to be built for the old standard anyway.
Thanks a lot, Balcosaurus. I'll reach out as well, alongside Moon. I kind of want to find out a little bit more on this. This is a very funny comment. What option attracts the most sexy liquidity? All right, last call. Any monkey who may want to come up and chat through, your views here? Okay, if there are no new monkeys, appreciate everyone for taking the time to join us. As a next step, I think the last slide is what we have. Just to let everybody know, basically from today's discussion, we managed to get a fair bit of, sort of a temperature check to see where everyone stands. Also get hold of some of the feedback, especially from folks who managed to come up and chime in on this topic. Really appreciate that. I think what I would probably love to do as well is to kind of put through like a temperature check in a more participative manner across everyone. And this is one thing that I will sort of take back to the exec and the board as well to discuss through it. Ideally, I kind of want to get a temperature check as well, across like maybe just like a Discord vote kind of way, just to gather some of the preliminary indication, especially so this way we can include folks who have missed out this and can just catch up on review. Thereafter, we will be, I'll sort of, work to arrive at a decision alongside, the support of the execs as well as the board. So yeah, so that's kind of like the next steps there. And I did share as well very briefly, earlier on, if you do stay throughout, I think we would also love to take this opportunity to share with you a little bit about, kind of the way that we're thinking forward in terms of like MonkeDAO. Just this is entirely not related to the MonkeDAO Immutability report topic. If you do have a slightly tighter time, feel free to just disconnect, and that's totally fine. But kind of just sharing with us, since we're on this topic and talking about future and whatnot, I think since the transition, or rather, sort of reinstating the new team as well, we've taken very bold steps towards certain areas like activation, and continue to see, like the local, the local chapters, which forms the core of our committee, being sort of activated and whatnot. In terms of this whole country club model that we talked about, this is essentially the narrative that we are hammering down and sort of working towards in terms of strengthening that vision and whatnot. Our goal here is that we have set up the foundation, or we are still setting up the foundation, and we want to continue to do it well, set up a strong foundation across grassroots communities through our local chapters initiatives. With the strong foundation that we've set up, where people can come together and actually make meaningful connections and reap the benefits of this strong network amidst this country club model. We want to see how we can also take this model, progressively move from the local level, then take on more bold steps to go into regional, and then of course like a global level. Eventually, we want to make this country club really a meaningful one. Imagine if you can do regional activation, or do, we talked about MonkeyCon as a joke, but I think if we do this, local chapters activation well, it can allow us to really work towards that vision. We also have very preliminary discussion around how we could potentially build out a Soho house for Web3, and MonkeDAO could potentially pioneer that model. And while thinking of all these things, it's not about spending aggressively, or just spending in a reckless manner. We've sort of run through a couple of idea gathering here. Running a Web3 Soho house could be a good way as well to think about how we can cement that Web3 country club narrative that we have, and we could potentially just run it in a proof of concept manner, where whatever that budget is assigned, 50, 60K or whatever, or up to 100K a year, we can earmark that for kind of a proof of concept. If it works throughout that 1 year that we earmark for, then we continue to replicate that model and then scale it towards other regions and whatnot. But imagine that would really sort of strengthen and be very well aligned with this vision that we want to build, calling ourselves the go-to premier Web3 country club. And alongside that, you also have the physical country club that you can go to, almost like a Web3 Soho. So that's kind of like the progressive direction that we're going towards. Of course, this is a long shot. We don't imagine ourselves to be able to achieve this straight away. This is alongside a lot of the things that the Banana Stand team is already working on. So it's a multi-pronged approach. It's a longer term game. We've decided that we really are focused around that community angle, and that should be the way moving forward. And I think we to answer that question very quickly, I kind of want to move forward after that. I know folks are kind of running time. We ran this through a couple of potential partners. I think one thing that we are sort of hopeful of is that this country club does not have to be revenue generating, but at least we should sort of aim for it to be break even. Essentially, what it can be used as is an anchor for any Solana focused ecosystem sort of activations and whatnot. We can work with ecosystem projects to help sort of have that activation done across multiple projects, protocols, etc. And people can just contribute as is, and eventually that can help to sort of contribute to the total cost as well. And so that's kind of like the model that we're thinking about. It is not something that we have moved forward with, just some brief idea of different ways that we can strengthen that country club narrative. Yeah, it's always a chicken and an egg problem. We definitely need to make calculated risks, or rather take on calculated risks, and sort of make decisions that could potentially help attribute value over the long term. So that's kind of like the brief sort of idea that we have laid out, and some of the areas where we are spending a little bit more time around in terms of strengthening the collection, strengthening the community aspect and whatnot. We have deliberately decided to stay away from the utility angle, because there's no point in us trying to build a game or build a X protocol, etc. if that's not our area of expertise. Eventually, we have learned it the hard way that it may just be a bunch of wastage of resources at some point. All right. So yeah. That is a good comment. Sorry, this will be my last comment because I think some folks are waiting to pull off. So basically, a kind of like a country club, but then we can partner with protocols, communities, etc. Yep. All right. Once again, appreciate everyone for taking time. As discussed, we will run this through internally, and then we'll come back with some of the next steps, including any temperature check and whatnot. Appreciate everyone for taking the time to join us. If you're listening to this on record, highly encourage you to participate in the discussion. Take note that this is not a topic about us. not the exec, not the bot, and not any one individual. This is really about the future ahead, and it is extremely important that all of us as an individual, as a verified member of MonkeDAO, make your voice heard and make your voice known as well. All right. Thanks everyone. I wish you a good day, and we'll see you in about 2 days' time at Town Hall. I will get ready to send Pedro vibes because no Pump It Up is not Friday yet. We will keep that for our usual Friday tradition. Get ready to send the Pedro from here.
Passeggio tutta sola per le strade, guardando attentamente i monumenti, la classica straniera.